Happy day, fire signs. This is your weekly reading for the week of May 21st through May 27th. And I know you missed me. It's been a few weeks since I've put out weekly readings, but that's just because for me, May was really calling me into this quiet space. The energy for me for May, for Taurus season, has really been all about reprioritizing and just like kind of gaining clarity on where am I focusing my thoughts, where am I focusing my energy, and kind of shifting that. All right. And I think that this weekly reading, just kind of filling into it, not really seeing the cards yet, but just filling into it and feeling as if for fire signs for this week, that's kind of what spirit is calling us into, is asking us to prioritize, is really asking us as fire signs to pay attention to where we are focusing our thoughts, where we're focusing our energy, right? And noticing, observing how we can shift our perspectives, and giving ourselves permission to visualize how life can be different if we are to shift our perspectives. All right. And so the oracle card that I pulled for us is the Triumph card. And what I'm seeing with the Triumph card for this week is that when fire signs, when you really give yourself permission to sit down, to reprioritize your perspectives, to shift your perspectives, to reprioritize where you're focusing your energy, where you're focusing your attention, where you're focusing, what are you focusing your thoughts on? When you give yourself permission to shift your perspectives, when you give yourself permission to shift your energy away from the limiting thoughts and perspectives, right, then you will experience this triumph. And it feels like, for us fire signs, it feels like mental and it really feels like mental triumph. Okay, it feels like you are coming into this space of where you're realizing, like, oh shit, like I have been the one holding myself back. Like I've been the one holding myself hostage. And I can see how throughout the month of May, fire signs, how you may have caught little glimpses of how you may have caught some of your own thoughts, and you've looked at them and you've observed them, and you've had moments where it's just like, whoa, like that's me. I'm doing that to myself. And so this week, Spirit is really asking you to prioritize shifting those perspectives, right? And if you have to write them down in your journal, and then on the other side of the paper, write down a new perspective, write down a new thought, then do that, so that you can begin to let go of the false narratives, so that you can really experience and create this life for yourself in the way that you desire, right? Because the heart's desires are right there. They're right there. And you're becoming more familiar with what it is that you really want. You're getting clear on what it is that you really want and desire for yourself and for your life as far as the long term is concerned. Because I feel like, fire signs, you struggle, or you have had the tendency to struggle with looking at the long term, right? With looking out ahead and seeing not necessarily the future, not really looking at the future or planning the future, but just seeing the possibilities and how it's possible for you to experience, joy and peace and bliss and happiness and fruitfulness and fulfillment and satisfaction and contentment long term, right? You're used to things mentally. You're used to mentally taking those things away from yourself, and life happens, and you're used to giving the power over to those things. And Spirit is saying, we're calling you away from that life. We're calling you away from that pattern, okay? And so give yourself permission to spend the last couple of weeks of this month to really get clear on what it is that you want, and to really get clear on the kinds of thoughts and perspectives that are really in alignment with you. Ask your heart, okay? Ask your heart, what thoughts, what perspectives, what narratives, right? What conscious narratives, or what narratives do I need to become conscious and aware of, that are really in alignment with the will of my soul and with my with who I am from an internal, infinite perspective, right? So we have the Page of Swords as our first card. The Page of Swords. So already I've been talking about our thoughts and our narratives and our perspectives and shifting them. And the Page of Swords is saying it's time for you to grow up, okay? And that's not a dig. It's just the Page of Swords is coming and saying it's time for you to grow up. It's time for you to change how you think about yourself. It's time for you to change how you see yourself. It's time for you to change how you view yourself from the inside out, okay? Fire signs, because when you do, when you mature in how you see yourself, that is when so many things will begin to change for you, right? It's all about how you are seeing yourself. It's all about how you are viewing yourself. What are you thinking? What thoughts are you allowing yourself to think about yourself and about who you are? Okay, it's time for you to honor who you are. The Page of Swords is like, we're growing up, we're maturing, okay? We're being called into something new. We're being called to see ourselves differently. We're being called to honor who it is that we are. And in order for us to do that, we have to graduate, okay? Fire signs, that's the word that's coming through. It's time for you to graduate, okay? You've been allowing yourself to hold on to these limited perspectives, and now the Page of Swords is saying, this week you may experience all of these thoughts coming at you at once, whether they're being spoken through your own mouth or whether they're being spoken through someone else's mouth. You're going to come face to face with some of these thoughts that you've been holding on to about yourself. And in those moments, if you can be present, if you can be mindful in those moments, that's when you can say to yourself, I'm graduating, I'm moving on from this, okay? And then we have the Magician. We have the Magician, okay? The Magician, fire signs. And Spirit is letting you know through the Magician. Spirit is letting you know through the Magician, this is who you are. This is who you are, okay? We're moving from seeing ourselves as little pawns to seeing ourselves as the kings, as the queens, as the royal ones, okay? We are the royal ones, fire sign. And that is what the Magician is coming to remind us. The Magician is letting us know that we are royalty, okay? We are the royal ones. We are the ones who have everything that we need available to us in order to create the life that we desire for ourselves, in order for us to experience something new, okay? And the Magician is just serving as a reminder and is speaking to this splendor that you possess, okay? I don't really, that's not a word that I use, but it's the word that I'm hearing right now, fire signs, because what I'm hearing is that God, Spirit, is really asking you to begin to study the splendor, to study your splendor, okay? To really ground into that, okay? Because that is who you are. You are a being. I'm trying to think of the word that I would use, like splendor. We're just going to stick with splendor. But that is what God is calling you to ground into. That is what God is calling you to be a witness to be a witness to your own splendor, to stand in awe of yourself, and to know, fire signs, that there is nothing that you have to do in order to receive that recognition from yourself and from the world around you. There's nothing that you have to do. There's no hard work. There's no task. There's no job. There's nothing that you have to do in order to receive that recognition, all right? And then we have the Four of Cups. We have the Four of Cups, okay? Because this is where you tend to fall, okay? This is where you tend to fall back to this, fire signs. And Spirit is saying, we are surrendering this attitude. We are surrendering this mood. We are surrendering the tendency to see the cup as half empty, okay? Spirit is saying, fire signs, that you are a naturally optimistic person. You are a naturally optimistic being, okay? But because you've been living with these limited thoughts and perspectives, and I want to insert this, okay? Spirit wants me to insert this. The limited perspectives and thoughts don't belong to you. They don't belong to you, okay? They don't return to sender. When you identify them this week, when you identify what they are, when they come to the surface and you see them and you tell yourself, okay, it's time for me to move on from this. It's time for me to graduate. It's time for me to level up. Also, give yourself permission to rescind them, to send them, return them to sender, because they don't belong to you, okay? And when you hold on to things that don't belong to you, you keep yourself in this position. You keep yourself in this position, okay? And so this week, Spirit is really asking you to prioritize stepping back into the spirit of optimism, okay? Stepping back into the spirit of optimism. So you have three things that you need to prioritize this week, fire signs. Graduating. You're graduating. You're moving on. You're leveling up, okay? You're in 9th grade. It's time for you to move on to 10th, okay? Just an example, right? So if you have to set up a graduation on your behalf, a graduation ceremony on your behalf, do that. Whatever you have to do so that you can see that this is real, okay? And then you're being asked to honor your splendor, to begin to stand in awe of yourself, because you have it all. This is what the magician is saying. The magician is saying you have it all. And so you're being asked to stand in awe of yourself, to stand in awe of your glory, of your splendor, okay? And then you're being asked to step back into the spirit of optimism, okay? Because life has so much available to you. And if you are moving through life with a pessimistic attitude, you're not going to be able to receive. You're not going to be available or open to receive what life has for you, all right? So that's what you're being called and asked to prioritize this week. This is what this next week is going to be presenting to you, fire signs. And also, you know, if you come into contact with people who are reflecting back to you those limited perspectives, it's important for you not to stand in blame. Okay, it's important for you to remember not to point fingers. It's important for you to remember to see whoever it is on the other side of you, whoever's, you know, standing in front of you, sitting in front of you, that they're just serving as a mirror. And so can you ask yourself in those moments, what is this person reflecting back to me that I need to look at, that is within me? Okay, Sagittarius, your clarifying card is the 6 of Swords. Your clarifying card is the 6 of Swords. So this right here lets me know, Sagittarius, the 6 of Swords is letting me know that you are ready. You are ready to move on. You are ready to move on. You are ready to move forward. Okay, this is forward motion. Let me repeat it. This is forward motion, Sagittarius, okay? God is ready for you to move on. You can feel it, Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius, and yes, I can feel it. I am ready to move on from what is old, okay? I'm ready to move on from what is old because I know. And so you have to take on that attitude. You have to take on that perspective. You have to trust your inner knowing, Sagittarius, okay? Even if you can't see the how, the solution, it doesn't matter, right? That stuff will reveal itself to you as you are taking the steps that are necessary for you to take as you move forward, okay? Aries, if I can pick up the card, your clarifying card is the King of Coins. Your clarifying card is the King of Coins, Aries. And I'm hearing that it's time for you to nurture something. It's time for you to nurture something, Aries. That's what I'm hearing with the King of Coins. It's time for you to nurture your inner security. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that you've struggled over the last couple of years, Aries. I'm hearing that you've struggled with some insecurity, and Spirit is saying it's really time for you to nurture the parts of yourself that have struggled with insecurity. It's time for you to identify what those insecurities are. It's time for you to identify how you've allowed those insecurities to control your life. Okay, it's time for you to identify how you've allowed those insecurities to keep you in spaces that you really don't belong in. Okay, and once you identify what those insecurities are, then it's time for you to nurture yourself. It's time for you to nurture your inner confidence. It's time for you to nurture your courage. Okay, and how do we do that? By allowing ourselves to live it out, by allowing ourselves to live courageously, by allowing ourselves to live our confidence out, right? So if there's something new, Aries, that you've been wanting to try, but you've been afraid because you felt a little insecure about trying it out, the only way that you're going to gain confidence is if you give yourself permission to try it, okay? So for you, Aries, it's give yourself permission to try something new so that you can grow in your confidence, so that you can become more secure within yourself, right? Leo, your clarifying card is the Five of Wands. Your clarifying card is the Five of Wands. Leo, immediately whenever I saw the Five of Wands, I heard the phrase fighting demons. Okay, this energy right here that looks and feels a little bit chaotic, or that looks and feel a little bit like there's a struggle going on, that's because you're fighting some demons, Leo. Okay, you're fighting some demons. And right now I'm hearing the word people pleasing, right? You have a tendency to really struggle with pleasing other people. And it's really because you just want to be validated, Leo. You just want to be validated. And so Spirit is asking you this week, Leo, to pay attention to what kind of validation it is that your mind or that your ego causes you to seek or chase after, and then give yourself permission to find ways that you can validate yourself from the inside out. Okay, Leo, because you are thebomb.com, and you don't need validation from anybody else. You don't need validation from any outside source, okay? But that's been the struggle for you for most of your life, is seeking validation. Okay, and so whenever you fall into these lulls, it's because that validation really isn't holding up. It's not enough, right? You're beginning to find out, Leo, that validation that you're seeking after is not enough. And so give yourself permission to let go of the distractions. Give yourself permission to say no when you want to say no, because you're tired and you need to rest and you need to take care of yourself, Leo, okay? The only reason why you tend to say yes so much is because you want that validation, but you're starting to realize that it's no longer it's no longer serving you, right? You're beginning to feel the exhaustion of trying to keep up with needing that validation, okay? So, fire signs, this was your weekly reading for the week of May 21st through May 27th. I love you all so much. Let me know in the comments how this resonated with you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you know a fire sign that this may resonate with, make sure you share it. If you would like to join any of the weekly or monthly group sessions that I offer, you can go to the link in the description and sign up for those. The first group session for the month of June will be June 1st, and that's our heart-centered group session where I offer tapping and Reiki, and we really just focus on getting into the heart so that we can live from here, so that we can really truly live authentic lives, and we do that from the heart center, from the heart space. So thank you so much for being here. I love you all, and I'll see you next week.